The hypocrisy of selective divine wrath, why the Bible Belt's storms don't count. Every time an earthquake rattles California or a wildfire scorches its hills, the same chorus rises from the Bible Belt: God's judgment. Christian pundits, pastors, and keyboard warriors flood social media, pointing to California's progressive politics and vibrant LGBTQ community as the cause of divine retribution. They quote Leviticus, lament our sinful queer ways, and paint the Golden State as Sodom reincarnate. But when hurricanes shred Alabama, tornadoes obliterate Oklahoma, or floods drown Tennessee, the narrative flips. Suddenly it's just weather or climate change, never God's wrath. The hypocrisy is glaring, and it's time to call it out. Let's look at the numbers. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, since 2017, the Southeast, home to the most fervently Christian conservative states, has been hammered by 40% of the nation's billion-dollar weather disasters. Hurricanes like Harvey, Irma, and Helene have devastated Texas, Florida, and the Carolinas. Tornadoes have carved deadly paths through Alabama and Mississippi, states where churches outnumber Starbucks 1,000 to 1. In 2024 alone, the Bible Belt saw record-breaking floods that wiped out entire communities. Yet when these disasters strike, the same voices that blame California's quakes on gay pride parades fall silent about God's supposed anger. Why the double standard? When a 6.4 magnitude earthquake hit San Francisco in 2019, a prominent televangelist declared it God's warning to a state embracing immorality. When wildfires raged through Napa Valley in 2020, ex-posts from Christian influencers screamed, "Repent, California, your sin invites God's fire." Videos on platforms like TikTok and Clapper express vehement vitriol and disdain towards the immigrants and trans, claiming God's divine judgment in their wickedness. But when Hurricane Ida flooded Louisiana in 2021, killing dozens and leaving thousands homeless, those same voices offered prayers, not prophecies. When tornadoes killed 90 people in Kentucky that same year, I didn't see a single post claiming God was punishing the bluegrass states' megachurches or GOP strongholds. Apparently, God only swings his hammer at blue states. This selective outrage isn't just inconsistent, it's intellectually dishonest. If you believe natural disasters are God's vengeance, then own it consistently. The Bible Belt's Christian majority doesn't get a free pass just because they wave crosses and vote red. If California's earthquakes are punishment for inclusive policies, then what are Alabama's hurricanes? Mississippi's floods? Oklahoma's twisters? Are we to believe God's aim is so precise that he targets San Francisco's pride events but spares the Bible Belt's Bible studies? Or is it more likely that Christians cherry-pick their theology to fit their prejudices? Let's talk about sin, since that's the currency of this argument. The Bible Belt loves to point fingers at California's immorality, but their own backyard isn't exactly Eden. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, states like Alabama, Arkansas, and Louisiana have some of the highest per capita rates of violent crime, including sexual assault. The Guttmacher Institute shows that teen pregnancy rates are highest in the South, despite its abstinence-only preaching. And don't get me started on the opioid crisis tearing through red state communities. If God's doling out punishment for sin, why aren't these stats trending on Christian X accounts as evidence of divine displeasure? The truth is, this hypocrisy isn't about theology, it's about tribalism. Blaming California's disasters on queer sin lets conservative Christians feel superior, righteous, and separate from a world they fear. It's easy to scapegoat a state that represents everything they're not: diverse, progressive, unafraid of change. But when their own communities crumble under hurricanes or tornadoes, admitting it could be God's judgment would mean confronting their own flaws. That's too uncomfortable, so they pivot to thoughts and prayers and dodge the mirror. I'm not saying God is or isn't behind these disasters. I'm saying if you're going to play the divine wrath card, play it fairly. If every earthquake in California is a sermon, then every hurricane in Florida deserves a reckoning. Stop pretending your red state Christianity makes you immune to the storms, literal or metaphorical. The Bible you quote doesn't mince words about hypocrisy. Why do you see the speck in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log in your own? Matthew 7:3. Maybe it's time to check your own eye before you tweet about ours. By Scott Young, aka Sinfamous Gamer.